The topic of our next briefing: details of criminal case in Switzerland against the MP of Ukraine, Mykola Martynenko. The floor is given to Serhiy Leschenko, MP and journalist, MP Petro Poroshenko bloc faction.
Маска, я вас знаю.
Good morning, dear colleagues, journalists, and the viewers. I decided to provide this briefing because we received from Switzerland law enforcement agencies that they are involved in the criminal proceedings against MP, deputy head of the Narodniy Front, Mykola Martynenko. I received that response signed by the Speaker of the Prosecutor's Office for Switzerland, which reads: starting from the year 2013, they were involved in the criminal proceedings against Ukrainian citizens Mykola Martynenko, being suspected in bribery, Article 322 sepsis, in the money laundering, which is Article 305 bis of the Criminal Code of Switzerland. Due to that fact, the Prosecutor's Office of Switzerland sent the inquiry to the Ukraine. Also, the Speaker of the Prosecutor's Office in Switzerland mentioned that the Ukrainian party was informed about the starting of the criminal proceedings against these citizens. Also, they provided major evidence against the criminal actions on the part of Martynenko on the territory of Switzerland. Since this case is still going on, they cannot provide the information regarding the investigation. According to the Switzerland Criminal Code, Article 322 septis, the Part 2, and should make provision that taken bribe by the official, if this official is citizens of the foreign country, the citizen can be sentenced to up to 5 years of imprisonment or the monetary fine. Also, the money laundering provides for 3 years of imprisonment or the monetary pecuniary fine or penalty. Also, there is more strict sentences if there is some aggravated circumstances. For example, if this was done by the criminal groupings or they obtained substantial profit as a result of money laundering. I would like to say that Article 305 bis of the Criminal Code of Switzerland was already applied to the Ukrainian officials, in particular former Prime Minister Serhiy was accused or charged for money laundering and was sentenced to 1.5 years of imprisonment, and the denial to enter the Switzerland for 5 years. Also, compensation 1,000,000.7 approximately of Swiss francs. Also, they increased the responsibility for money laundering, for action and corruption. The new provisions appeared in the Criminal Code of Switzerland. According to my information, criminal case against Mykola Martynenko is associated with taking the bribe for contract for the two NPPs, Rivne and Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plants, which were the let's say where the Czech company Škoda had to deliver the equipment. Also, there is a request to take care of the searches and take care of the interviews, interrogations in territory Ukraine. When the persons interested for the Switzerland Prosecutor's Office, Valery Vasilkov, which earlier was the employee of Mykola Martynenko company. As you know, Mr. Martynenko for many months denies any kind of criminal proceedings on the territory of Switzerland. This is not true. The proceedings were in place for more than 18 months, but also he hired the lawyer Max Schott. Since he is under investigation in Switzerland, I sent the inquiry to Mr. Grossman, Speaker of the Verkhovna Rada, for him to initiate let's say, the suspension, or let's say the removal of Mr. Martynenko from his office, because this initiative could come only from the Speaker of the Narodniy Front under the legislation. Due to the fact that this case is being investigated in Switzerland, I address General Prosecutor Mr. Shokin to start the criminal proceedings against Mykola Martynenko, similar to what has been done against Mr. Leschenko. He had some assets in Great Britain where they were frozen. They started the criminal case. They sent the necessary documents. The similar criminal proceedings were started in Ukraine. So they have to do the same in this specific case, based on the Swiss supply documents. They have to.
If in 10 days Mr. Shokin will not file this case, I will sign the document on trust to Shokin, etc. Thank you for your attention. I have an official response of Swiss Prosecutor's General Office. You may have it after the briefing is over. One more announcement I would like to make here. This is the announcement concerning Mr. Arsen Avakov, Minister of Interior. Yesterday I had a very interesting answer from the ministry, where the ministry refuses to announce as wanted Mr. Lazorko, who was head of one of Kolomoisky's enterprises. He fled from Ukraine, and according to last information, he is hiding himself in Slovakia. And after he was convicted, Ministry of Interior did not pass to Interpol all the data for Lazorko. In the answer I have in my hand, Mr. Avakov informs me that the defense of Mr. Lazorko appeared Avakov that this has the political prerequisites. This announcement of Lazorko is wanted at international level. So we are speaking about the collusion between Kolomoisky and Lazorko, because those documents, those reasons are not valid. Means that Ukraine should initiate the investigation and initiate the actions against Mr. Lazorko by Interpol. So this logic is absurd, because following that we may as well not do anything against Yanukovych, because his advocacy as well considers this, his defense as well considers this as politically colored. So we should concentrate on this, because it's a negative image of the Minister of Interior. Dear journalists, if you have
to declare research. Ms. Serhiy, can you somehow relay the investigation against Mr. Martynenko in Switzerland with the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers regarding the physical construction or completion of construction of the NPPs in Rivne and Zaporozhye, regarding the company which never been dealing with the NPPs and which is working on the outdated license issued by the Russian company. And you know, I have all this connection which I would like to ask you. This kind of investigation, the very surprising resolution of the Cabinet regarding the compensation, though the very high official which used to work in the Energatom and was head of the nuclear power engineering, says that this project will never be implemented. And this is something surprising. Without any international tender, all of a sudden they adopted the resolution of the cabinet of ministers several years ago about the completion of construction of those two MPPs. I can tell you that this case was launched against Martynenko in August 2013. In the fall last year, Mr. Martynenko was invited to be interrogated in Switzerland. So this case is 2 years old already. Why they started to launch this case? Because on the territory of Panama, he founded the company Recognized Investment, and one of the financial directors, by the way, Mr. Skalenko. And Bread Scratch Investment on their account in the Bank of Khotin, they started to deposit a lot of money, which actually initiated the interest on the part of the bankers, and they actually froze the money on this account. We are talking about the bribe to the tune of 30 million Swiss francs. Whether it's connected with the resolution or not, it's very difficult to judge for me. I mean, but this, the criminal proceedings are starting in Switzerland are absolutely connected with what is going on in Ukraine, because they do not base themselves on the political logic in Ukraine, as was always the case, or all the criminal cases which were considered on that territory of that country. Actually, the resolution was maybe triggered by this criminal case in Switzerland. It's very difficult to judge for me. I don't know about any connection like that. If you know about some kind of this connection, maybe it's worthwhile for you to act. Unfortunately, I cannot say anything about that, but I'm positive that the initiation of the case in Switzerland, it has nothing to do with what's going on in Ukraine. The Switzerland is a very independent country, just to be guided by some political reasonability or experience. Any other questions? If none, well, I have a clarification from the UCMC. Serhiy, please tell me, what is your what would be the developments in this case? I believe that this case is going to be, let's say, silenced down in Ukraine regarding his negative attitude towards the authorities, local authorities in Ukraine. Maybe this issue will be raised if we change the political powers, which are today's authorities in Ukraine. Thank you very much, and our next briefing is in 10 minutes from now. Thank you.